think you know anything about Harry Styles. Our communities.
Don't talk about it again, so I tell y'all, I told y'all so.
Our culture.
I am a Sam Smith. I will be Sam's representative.
Our stories.
It's also not a requirement for you to agree our opinions.
This is the Culture Report.
Welcome to the Culture Report. This week, we're diving into the impact body image has on young girls and how a new Netflix series is increasing representation for Asian casts. But first, we're going to address the shooting of a 16-year-old black boy in Missouri. His name is Ralph Yarl. He's a 16-year-old black boy who went to pick up his younger twin brothers from a friend's house when he knocked on the wrong door and was shot. The shooter, an 84-year-old man, answered the door and told Ralph, "Don't come back around here," before shooting Ralph twice, once in the head and again while he was on the ground. The shooter has since been arrested and charged with 2 felony counts and has since bonded out. Prosecutors had this to say about the case.
So in the state of Missouri, hate crimes can be E or D felonies, which carry with it a lower range of punishment than what the defendant is currently charged with. As the prosecutor, Clay County, I can tell you there was a racial component to the case.
Duh. I think we all knew that. I think, you know, for a 16-year-old unarmed black boy to walk up to a door and knock on the wrong door and to be shot, I think we automatically know that there had to be some kind of racial component to this.
The man said he was like scared to death when he saw him. And Ralph is literally 5'8" and weighs 140 pounds. So that's me. So if I'm standing at your door, are you threatened by me? I don't think so. So it's insane to me.
And it was just for it to happen so quickly. Like that, there was no reason, there was no chance to chat, at least, you know, from what the documents say. There was no chance to chat, sit down and talk. "Excuse me, what are you doing here? Get around, get away from here." It was like immediately shoot. Immediately shoot. So I don't know, and that made me like wonder. You know, I'm not a lawyer, but Google is free, y'all. Try it out. In the state of Missouri, I was curious what the trespassing laws were like. So take a look at this. It's when a person commits the offense of trespass in the first degree if he or she knowingly enters unlawfully or knowingly remains unlawfully upon real property. And then that made me think, okay, well, what constitutes like self-defense in Missouri? That's imminent, like if they see the person as an imminent threat, they have reasonable fear or a proportionate force. So,
well, I think blackness is a fear for a lot of white people, unfortunately. And that's how it felt reading up on this case and seeing how this could happen. Because this isn't new. Stuff like this has happened before.
Yeah, I'm so glad there was so much public outcry though on this case because I don't think it would have moved as fast as it has with even the charges that are out there now. I'm still confused why it's a, you know, racial component and not actual like an actual racial, you know,
like a hate crime?
A hate crime, yeah. So all that is still very confusing. Like all the actions after the fact just seemed a little, I don't know, out of place.
Yeah. Well, first, I think the response was spearheaded by the black community, just seeing black celebrities like Halle Berry, Kerry Washington, and all of them come out and speak about it and make sure it was getting visibility on their platforms and a wider visibility so society knows like this has happened to this 16-year-old boy. But I also think, to your point, the prosecutor said that the hate crime charge carried a lesser charge or it carried a lesser sentence. So they went after the charges that carry more of like a significant weight.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about that one. Do you guys think had Ralph been not black, that he would have been shot?
I mean, we saw in just recent days that there was a white woman, I believe in New York, who was shot and killed by driving into someone's like driveway.
And she was literally backing out. She posed no threat, backing out. Man shot her. And then something also happened in Texas just on Monday night. With the where two girls, one girl went into the wrong car, realized she got into the wrong car, got out, got shot. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
So that's.
I do think blackness played a part of it, but I also think that we're at a point where like these intersectionality of issues that we're having in America is coming to the forefront. So while I think this case particularly was racially motivated, I think those two cases with those white women, I believe they were white, shows a different instance with like gun problems that we're having.
Yeah.
So it's twofold.
That and the other part where reasonable fear.
I know, that's so,
I'm just, where is it reasonable? Like,
by doing an accident. All these people did an accident, going on the wrong side of went onto the wrong driveway. One person rang the wrong doorbell and getting into the wrong car. These are things that happen every day, and people are getting shot for it. That's ridiculous.
What's going to, like, I think about like Uber Eats drivers and DoorDash delivery stuff. Like when people deliver to your door, like if they deliver to the wrong door now, are they, you know what I mean? Like
if someone like puts the wrong address, because I used to drive, like I used to do Uber Eats during the pandemic, and countless times, it was definitely every day for sure. Like I was going to a wrong unit or a wrong door, so that's very terrifying to think about.
It's very, very scary, guys. Oh.
I know we're going to be talking about this topic for a while, but we're going to go ahead and move on to something a little bit different. So, unfortunately, as women, we are often criticized for either being too skinny or not skinny enough. Ariana Grande is the latest celebrity asking people to stop commenting on her body. This comes after she posted photos on her Instagram. This comment section was full of people concerned about her thinness. Ariana was quick to respond to all those comments in a new TikTok video. Take a look at part of the video.
Personally, for me, the body that you've been comparing my current body to was the unhealthiest version of my body. I was on a lot of antidepressants and drinking on them and eating poorly, and at the lowest points of my life when I looked the way you consider my healthy, but that in fact wasn't my healthy. And I know I shouldn't have to explain that, but I do feel like maybe having an openness and some sort of vulnerability here will be something like good might come from it. I don't know.
And sadly, Ariana is not the only celebrity who has to defend the way she looks. Just this month, Karol G had to take to Instagram to say her cover photo of GQ Mexico does not represent her. She wrote, "Today, my GQ magazine cover was made public, a cover with an image that does not represent me, my face doesn't look like that, my body doesn't look like that, and that I feel very happy and comfortable with how I look naturally." So, unfortunately, it's just something we see every single day. Yeah. I've seen it every single day with a different celebrity. We see it with Lizzo. We see it with just people with all types of body types. It's ridiculous. At this point, I'm like, what should women look like? What do you want us to look like at this point?
It's weird. It's like people, and like when people are in the comments, like they like to say it's like, oh, I'm concerned about her. I want to make sure she's okay. So they always make sure to comment on the body. I'm like, you don't know what someone's going through. It could be a health issue. It could be something like she's going through. She could be going through depression. Like she said, she was taking antidepressants and she was drinking, but they were praising her body back then, like, oh, she looks great. But then now it looks a little different, and it's like, oh, I'm concerned. I was like, no, you don't know.
But the funny part with that, not funny, but the interesting part with it is, like, she says that's when I was not healthy, and that's when she looked, healthy. So just goes to tell you don't know what people really are going through. So maybe just not comment on people's bodies. I think everybody's beautiful in their own way, and you should embrace that. It shouldn't be society standard that directs that. I find a problem with, a lot of them, like Lizzo too. Every time she does something, they like criticize her too.
We've gotten too comfortable as a society commenting on people's bodies. And I think that goes back to like a beauty standard that's not for anything or anyone that is not thin. And so I think there needs to be work done as a society, because I think even growing up, I remember hearing comments like when you're skinny, you're like, oh, I need to throw a steak at you. You need to eat a little bit more, or something like that. And those things kind of stick in your psyche as you grow older, and then you pass it on to other people. So.
And sometimes you think it's a compliment, though. You're like, oh, you lost some weight, or blah, 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 or you put on some weight, you looking thick, or whatever. I'm like, you don't know how someone else wants their body to look, or like, or like, if they don't look like that, they're scared, like, oh, well, I'm not getting complimented as much. I need to get back to where I was when I was getting complimented.
Yeah,
so like, you just mind your business.
I know you guys don't like Kim that much, but I am going to give it to her. She did start selling like some of her bodysuits, and what I found very interesting on the actual website was that she showed you, like, this is what a medium bodysuit looks like on this body, and just different ways for you to like embrace how, those could look, and the fact that everybody can wear them. So just being more inclusive, I think it's a great opportunity for more artists to, or creators to start including more people.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I love that. I don't know.
So Meg Thee Stallion is speaking out for the first and last time since her assault trial against Tory Lanez. In an essay published to Elle magazine, the rapper talked about how the situation put her in a depression and how some people doubted her story. But she said she's learning how to cope and heal from that situation. In the essay, she says, in part, "This is a rebirth of a happier and healthier me. I'm a survivor and I have and will continue to embrace the highs and lows of my journey. I'm excited to get back into music because I have been so transformed." And obviously, this is a long article, so you can go read it at elle.com, but did you guys take time to read it? And
I
just
read the whole thing. It was
absolutely,
it like hit me. Yeah, I read the whole thing.
It was really good. It's just, I'm very proud of her for speaking out in the way that she did, and I salute you, Megan. You're awesome, and it was,
especially for being able to speak out after like the last time you spoke out, you were ridiculed for it and criticized by like the masses, by your own people. Like black people were like, she's lying.
Yeah.
Whatever. So for her to come back and be like, you know what, I'm going to share my story. I'm not going to let you silence me. I live for that.
Yeah, even her peers, like Drake had that line in one of his songs where he like criticized or said that she was lying.
Yeah.
Why
like
is he being messy? Like, why is he being messy?
You know what they say about him in the streets, but just those things. I think when a woman, especially a black woman, states something that she's been through, like this assault, I think she should be believed. That should be like our first instinct, is to believe a woman's version of what has happened. And for her not to have been believed initially was like very disheartening to see.
It's very disappointing, for sure. Yeah, just to see that as a woman, like how are you encouraged to come out if you might be made fun of or not believed?
Or like, even if you just don't believe them, even if you want to speculate or like be cautious, like at least reasonable doubt. Like they said, innocent until proven guilty. Like at least wait until to see like what happens like with the trial.
But I think that also goes to show when she originally didn't want to speak out was in 2020 when there was like that racial tension that was happening. Everybody remember 2020 and that racial tension. And knowing that she was going to be in the situation with police and having a black man there, and also all her friends were black in that situation. So I understand why initially she didn't come out and say actually what had happened. She was trying to be protective of not only herself, but like the people that she was with, even though they had harmed her. But I think that says a lot about society that they failed black people.
Very scary.
Because people should understand. I mean, people should have understood that, like especially when it happens. When she said, "Hey, yes, I didn't tell the whole truth when it first happened because, police, especially there was so much social unrest." So for her to say like, yeah, I didn't want to say gun, I didn't want to say he did anything, like I may have been mad at him in the moment, but that didn't mean that she wanted him to die. She was trying to help him out.
Yeah.
So for her to be dragged for that, I would like,
I think that was the catalyst for people to call her a liar and to mock her over this past year and a half, 2 years that it's been.
Yeah, I hated seeing that they were like, almost calling her like different names and making her like deserving of what happened to her. It's not okay to do that. I'm glad she spoke out about it.
She's gonna be much stronger after this.
We
love her.
Coming back better than ever.
Love her.
Yeah, all right, guys. Well, moving on to something different. A new study by UCLA researchers found that streaming releases have more diversity than theater films. People of color are also more likely to write, direct, and star in films for streaming services than those released theatrically. The report also found that movies that feature diverse casts outperformed others. Why do you guys think that's happening, huh?
I mean, because people want to see people that look like them on screen, or just diverse casts. Like for casts that are like mostly white or majority white or all white, that doesn't reflect our society. So people don't want that.
I also think the industry is starting to see there's a profitability in shows, films, art that is inclusive of people of color. I think now that we're seeing like things like Black Panther and the new
Avatar as well. There's all these
Little Mermaid. I think those things, seeing audiences of different colors represented on screen, it's profitable. And they saw that with Black Panther. I think that was like one of the first initial offerings that they saw. And so now they're starting to see that, and so these opportunities are coming about.
Yeah, Hollywood, I guess, the people in power in Hollywood should, look at these findings and definitely fund more of these people of color, directors to make more movies, not just for streaming, but, more theatrical.
Right. They need to have more opportunities for theatrical releases, because I think POC filmmakers also, there's a component financially that disadvantages removing them from that space. So they also need to be included in those theatrical releases. So we need to see more representation across the board in that area. So
The majority, like you said, they are white,
Right.
and they're getting tops of 30 million, and compared to women and people of color, that's a lot more money.
Right.
So, yeah.
Absolutely, and like like you said, they do need more like on the silver screen, on the big screen. But streaming, if you want an example of diversity in streaming, the new Netflix show Beef.
love beef.
So we're about to get into it, but before I get into it, I do want to mention that in this section I will be talking about sexual assault. So if you want to skip that, trigger warning, skip this part. So the new show Beef on Netflix, it's basically a show about these two people that get into a road rage incident and they just let that consume their lives. We'll get into it in just a second, but it does have a predominantly Asian American cast as well as writers, directors, and producers. The show has received nothing but critical acclaim, but sadly right now the success of the show has been overshadowed recently by recently surfaced comments by one of the cast members. Back in 2014, David Choe shared a very distasteful story detailing how he sexually assaulted a massage therapist. He apologized shortly after, saying that the comments were satirical and an extension of his art. And it reflected bad storytelling and in no way represented his reality. Now, of course, we do not condone joking about something as serious as sexual assault, but right now people are also calling out Ali Wong and Stephen Yoon for not speaking out about it and also allegedly taking part in his casting. So we made note of that, and we'll be keeping an eye out for an update to see if they speak out. However, we'd be remiss not to recognize the cultural significance of the show, and we really want to highlight all the work that was going on behind the scenes because it was a flawlessly written show.
Phenomenal.
It was.
I loved it. I couldn't stop watching.
I'm still on episode 3.
It just keeps getting better and better.
It was one of those shows that I couldn't stop watching until I finished. And it was like 3 a.m. I was like, one more episode. It was phenomenal. But I don't think, like, going to the point of like his comments, I don't think that people of color aren't immune from making mistakes, saying things that they shouldn't say, or saying things as horrible as what he says. But I also don't think that takes away from the success and the importance of this show Beef. So I think that must be said and recognized also.
Absolutely. And I mean, he was such a minor part.
Yeah, I think he was a minor. From what I've seen so far, and I'm on episode 3, he's in and out. He's not like.
And we want to talk about the cultural significance because I was reading a few things. I was here, like, seeing the response from Asian American people, and they loved it. Like, they were like, oh, well, they were comparing it to Crazy Rich Asians, right? They were like, oh, we loved that, sure, but it was also nice to see a different side of an Asian American person.
Right. I think oftentimes Asian people in media are portrayed as the model citizen, and in this you get to see a group of angry people.
Yes, we can be mad too.
That's why everyone.
In a way that you normally don't get to see. So I thought it was like really cool to see representation from a different angle perspective.
Yeah, but that was really cool to see like the full Asian cast. I mean, that really just goes to show you just what we found in that study, right? How they're, doing better in streaming. So I love that, watching that. It's a great show.
Definitely having people behind the scenes too, writers, producers, directors.
Exactly.
That's how you get stuff like
That's when you get that authenticness of something, and you know, like there's people of color behind the scenes writing this from a true perspective.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, not just on screen, behind the scenes too.
But while like his comment does need to be addressed, I don't think you should hold, or I don't think his cast members.
That's what I said. I don't
should
think
be
they
held
should be.
accountable. Yeah.
There's no reason they need to be held accountable. That's like if someone bad at your job does something, do you have to say something about it? I don't think so.
And we don't. I mean, I also don't know what happened behind closed doors. So maybe he had a whole come to Jesus moment. And he was like, he did some self-reflecting, found Jesus, and apologized to the whole cast before. I mean, I believe he should do it publicly, as aside from saying, like, oh, that's my humor, that's my art. However, like, I don't know what happened behind the scenes, so I'll hold my judgment.
Yeah.
Till later date.
As everyone else should. They shouldn't take away from that.
Yeah. All right, guys. And Puerto Rican singer Daddy Yankee is making history once again. His breakthrough hit Gasolina became the first reggaeton song to be inducted into the Library of Congress's National Recording Registry. Although the godfather of reggaeton is now retired from music, he helped create the global demand for reggaeton that artists like Bad Bunny and Karol G are bringing to stages across the world today. I am so just happy to see that, and I don't know, to see all these artists making music in their language, and like even Bad Bunny's album Verano Sin Ti was the one that hit like the Billboard, the non-English only album to hit like top Billboards 200. And that was just really cool because you see like Ricky Martin having to translate and Shakira to actually be relevant in that mainstream. So it's really cool.
I think digital music is exploding, especially streaming, and it's allowing audiences to tap into music from anywhere, from any artist. So seeing like Latin music have this explosion, I think is really important to see, and then get the recognition.
I think a lot of people are seeing that it's fun too, because I've seen a lot of TikToks like, I don't know what Bad Bunny's saying, but I love it. Like, and they're learning the language as well, which I think is awesome.
Like Coachella to see him. They're like, oh, I don't know what he says, but and they also, I mean, enjoy what he stands for. But yeah, just like, I feel, and that also goes to show how diversity is, profitable. So I don't know if that's why maybe they're giving them more of a platform, because they're like, oh, you're making money, so yeah, open up the Grammys for me. Do this, do that. But I love that they're doing it, because it really shows that they can do it too.
Speaking of money.
I was saying, Latin music, the revenue from Latin music has increased.
Yeah, they actually exceeded the $1 billion for the first time in 2022 and outpacing the broader industry, which is, showing too like the impact of Latin music in the industry. I love it.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's hop into the good news of the week. Researchers at Houston Methodist have found a way to successfully shrink pancreatic cancer by using an implantable device that is smaller than a grain of rice. They used immunotherapy treatment and were able to see a significant reduction in the tumors. This promising study brings hope in the fight against one of the most aggressive forms of cancer.
All right, and Disneyland just announced that they will host their first ever Pride Night. The night will celebrate the LGBTQ plus community with the parade featuring Mickey and friends dressed in special attire, a dance party, and special merchandise. The fun will happen on June 13th and 15th.
And hockey is a sport that doesn't have a lot of diversity, but there is a team in Colorado working to make this notoriously expensive sport accessible to all kids. Colorado Extreme, a hockey team near Carbondale, lets kids join the team for free, and there is no cost for equipment or ice time. The end goal is to get the kids to college and give them an opportunity that they wouldn't have without the sport.
And nearly 30,000 people ran the 127th Boston Marathon on Monday, marking 10 years since the Boston Marathon bombing. So for the first time ever, the runners have the chance to sign up for a non-binary division. So instead of having to choose man or woman, they had their own division set for them. It's a small step forward, but it's a step nonetheless.
I love it.
Because I say that just because this is not a paid division. They still don't get paid as the men or women do. So
It's getting a little bit more inclusive.
It's getting a little bit more inclusive, which I appreciate.
Yeah, me too.
And then also like a part of like to hop on the registry, I know Mariah Carey's song "All I Want for Christmas"
Yes.
featured. Queen Latifah became the first female rapper to have her, I think it was her album, entered into that registry also.
Super Mario theme song too, for the first time, one of those animated songs. I was like, what? I love it. Yeah, there were a lot of good, for sure.
So this week we want you to join the conversation and let us know what good things you're seeing in the culture. So email us at culturereport@9news.com with your good news.
All right, thank you for joining us for the Culture Report. We'll be back to continue the conversation next Thursday right here on our free 9 News Plus app and 9news.com.